So the Polaris General went to the Polaris dealership this morning for its annual checkup, and while I was there I decided to check out the new Generals to see what they look like. And I found something different that I've never seen before, something new from Polaris. I'll share it with you. Stay tuned. All right, that new machine is called the Polaris Xpedition with an X. And it looks a lot like a General. Matter of fact, when I first saw it, I thought, well, this is just an expensive General. It's just all blinged out and accessorized, but it's a little bit more than that. As you can see, it's a nice looking rig. There's everything about it. The creature comforts and the fit and finish are much nicer than a General. Here's the outline of it. Looks like a General, except the roof line is straight instead of having that angled roof line. There are two different models, an XP and an ADV or Adventure, and they come in three different flavors. There's the premium model, Ultimate, and North Star. And the North Star edition is the most deluxe version. And they have a 2-seat version and a 5-seat version. Not a 4, a 5-seat. You can see here's the General and an Xpedition sitting side by side. And they look very, very similar. I'm sorry this isn't going to be a ride-along video. Instead, I'm just going to do a comparison because I was curious myself. What is the difference between an Xpedition and a General? And I wanted to share what I learned about it. Even looking at the doors, you can see that the Xpedition, much stouter door. Here they are sitting next to each other. The Xpedition might look wider, but it's actually the same width. It is a little bit longer. I don't know, about 3.5 inches longer. And I suspect that's just the wheelbase is longer. I think they probably redesigned the suspension geometry to stretch those wheels out a little bit. The box itself looks a little bit bigger. It's not tapered on the sides, and it looks a little deeper to me, but the capacity is the same. There's 600-pound capacity for both of them. And there's some differences that I want to highlight. One is, here's the roof line of the General on the inside. But you can see it's all finished off on the Xpedition. The Xpedition has a lot more sound deadening all around it just to make it ride quieter. Here's the General seats, and they're pretty nice, but they're not as nice as the Xpedition. The Xpedition seats are actually bolted down just like a car. Here's the 4-bolt 14-inch rims on the General and the 5-bolt 15-inch rims on the Xpedition. Again, here's the lock and ride system and the overall design of the box, and here's the Xpedition version, which it has the new rails on it for accessories like the snowmobiles have. Makes it much flatter so you can put a tonneau cover on it. Here's the comparison between the two. And again, looking at the doors, I couldn't believe how different the doors were. Just a solid feel opening and closing the doors. The winch on the General is frame mounted with a fair lead that's bumper mounted, and on the Xpedition, the entire thing is mounted to the front bumper. Here you can see the vent for the drivetrain or the belt system, and there's no visible vent here, and I'll explain why in a minute. And if we look at the Xpedition on the website, which is kind of where I started, you can see there's the two different models, the XP and the Adventure. And the Adventure comes with a covered rear cargo area, and that is weather tight. So the entire system, the entire enclosure on the Xpedition can be weather tight. This thing is, again, just like a car. It's got a couple different colors for the both the Adventure and the Xpedition XP, and they give you an idea of what you can do with the Xpedition. It's more designed for reaching adventures and carrying all your stuff with you, camping and that sort of thing. There you can see the cover on the cargo area. If we look at some of the specifications, as a 64-inch width, which is just like the General, 114 horsepower though. So same engine, but they get a little more horsepower out of it. You can see the weight, and this is one thing I can't quite wrap my head around. The weight, this is just the base model Xpedition comes just under 2,100 pounds. But you can, when you load these things out, we're looking at 2,300, 2,400 pounds for one of these things. Here you can see the beefed up suspension with the Fox adjustable shocks, the QS3 shocks. Listen to this door. Wow, I mean it's like a car. And you can see the kind of the nadir pin there. It's just like a new car. Everything about it looks like a new car. Now check this out. Now I look at this and I think, oh, these are like vents for the cab. No, that's the vent for the drivetrain, for the belt system. On the other side is a vent for the air intake for the engine. Here's the ride command system on the Xpedition. It's basically the same for the General. Looks the same. It's an improvement over our 2019 General, but it's basically the same. The buttons do the same thing. You can see the navigation. Very clear screen and very nice display. I like it a lot. It's not a 7S though. Here's the instrument cluster, and you'll notice that the instrument cluster is not attached to the steering column. The steering column is both tilt and telescoping and does not move. The instrument cluster does not move with it. Under the hood, you can see that there's a port. So even the XP comes all plumbed out for air conditioning and heating. The Northstar Edition comes with the air conditioning and heating system already installed. Of course, it comes with a very nice JBL stereo system and a floor shifter just like the General. Here they are sitting side by side, and I kind of wanted to highlight the differences between the two because at first glance they look the same, but their Xpedition is really the Polaris flagship side by side now. Just looking at it and getting up close and personal, I wanted to share what I learned even though I didn't get a chance to ride it. One concern I have with the Xpedition is that it kind of is a little bit bigger than what you'd normally expect for an ATV. Here's the state of Minnesota regulations on what constitutes an ATV, and you can see that weigh less than 2,000 pounds, 65 inches in width. And the Xpedition really kind of, at least the weight, exceeds what they say an ATV should weigh. So I'm not sure where this falls into the whole scheme of things as far as the ATVs go. Thanks to Rays for letting me check this new unit out. This is brand new on the sales floor, and I appreciate Justin's time and kind of walking me around and explaining things with the new Xpedition. Thought I would bring it to you even though I wasn't able to get a test ride. Hopefully in the future I will be able to actually ride this thing. Thanks for watching, and as always, I hope I see you on the trail.